Hello and welcome to On the Past, a new series from the Morning Advertiser exploring how pubs are using food to drive trade and footfall in a challenging environment. I'm Phoebe Fraser, and in each episode I'll be talking to chefs across the UK to discuss what's actually working in pubs today.
In this episode, I'm in Soho at the Devonshire, speaking to chef and co-owner Ashley Palmer-Watts about building one of the most talked about openings in London, what it takes to balance serious food with genuine pub culture, and how they turned a restored pub into the #1 ranked gastropub in the UK. Ash, thanks very much for joining me.
No problem.
Can you just start by telling us a little bit about the Devonshire for those that don't know, although I'm sure most people do?
Well, yeah. So Devonshire is here in Soho, corner building. It's a large building, lovely pub downstairs, green room at the back, basement. We have a butchery and a bakery, prep room down there, and obviously the cellar for all the beer. And then we have 4 floors of restaurant. So we're in the grill room, aptly named because we grill all the meat and seafood here. And then above we have the chop room, the claret room, the roof terrace, and then we have private dining on top of that for about 80 covers.
Wow. So it's an absolute mission what's going on here. Can you talk us through how the Devonshire became so popular and one of the most talked about openings in London, and why you think perhaps that it resonated so strongly so early on?
I mean, it's hard to say, isn't it, really? We're inside it. But I think when Charlie and Osh came to me and explained what they wanted to build in London, and they were looking for a recipe originally, it became quite clear that the kind of the feeling that this pub would give people, from whether you're in for a pint and a sausage at the bar, or you're upstairs in a restaurant, was a lesson in simplicity, incredible produce, with these really sort of key features that really, I think, come through that people really connect to.
Yeah.
And then I think the really important part is about building the right culture that then allows the team to bring this to life, So all of the front of house, the managers through to the runners at every level really bring their own character to it. And it's kind of real. It's not, it's not hand behind your back and, anything too formal. And I think people really feel really comfortable and well looked after in that sort of environment. And you can make food delicious and simple at the right price. I think that's really key.
Definitely. And did you set out to build a great pub with serious food, or did it evolve into this? I
mean, we set out to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
We didn't realise it would become quite so popular as this, but the three of us have been around a long time. Charlie Carroll, Flatiron founder, foodie, amazing restaurateur, businessman, all-round great guy. Oisin, I call him Mr. Pub because he's the best in the business.
Bread and butter.
And I've been around a while in a slightly different sphere, but we had pubs in Bray.
Yeah.
But I think if you put a diverse group of people that really get on together and bring something each from their own world really strongly and passionately, then I think you could be onto something.
Well, you are.
Well, it's going well.
And what did you feel was missing in the London pub scene when you opened?
If I'm completely honest with you, I'm not. I wasn't a massive pub goer in London. When I left the Fat Duck Group in end of 2019, I wanted to spend the first 3-4 months doing all the things that I never had time to do. And one of the things was go to London and have street pints standing outside a pub, because I was always running around when I was in London.
Running past.
Had a restaurant in Knightsbridge, but I never experienced that kind of thing. And so I only did that for a few months, and then I was busy on other stuff. But I think for me, and what I see here and what I see to the pubs that we go to now, I never would have thought there would be communities of people that are locals and friends and mates, as well as people that come to the Devonshire, that actually bring it alive as their own pub, what a pub is for. And that's all different uses. So, it's got a lovely chaos downstairs. Whether you're on your own having a quiet drink reflecting, or you're meeting friends or you're coming in to celebrate. It does everything.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of what pubs are. And there's some great pubs in London and outside of London. You know?
Definitely. And a little bit more about the three of you that sort of started the Devonshire. With all of your experience from pubs to restaurants to your high-end culinary experience, why was this the perfect combination?
I mean, it's all subjective, isn't it? What's the perfect combination? I mean, we're really proud of what we do. Demand is really amazing, and people seem to still love it 2.5 years in.
Yeah.
I think there's an honesty to it. The detail that we put into sourcing all the ingredients, the relationships that Charlie's built over many years with the abattoirs and farmers for our beef, which we'll show you downstairs.
Yeah.
I think these things, the fishermen, the divers, the growers, all of those things maybe don't normally sit hand in hand with a place of such, scale. But we've made, in some areas, we've made things difficult for ourselves, but other areas, you go, well, it's what we want to do. And I think it's what we imagined it could be. And we set about trying to build it. And to be honest, we're still putting a lot of work in, still getting it to where we believe it can get to, and all the detail that we want to still achieve. And
what do you think each of you three bring to the table? If you could say it in like 1 or 2 words, what would you say?
Oh God, we laugh about it sometimes because I think Osh says, my perfection side is a bit of a pain in the arse, but brilliant at the same time. Osh has got a chaotic side, which is a pain in the arse, but brilliant sometimes. Oh, most of the time, to be honest. And then Charlie he kind of sits across both of those worlds. And I guess I guess the three of us just love eating and drinking well and having a good time and having fun while we're doing it and meeting great people. I mean, it's not rocket science, to be honest.
And this is the perfect place for that. So you're in a good place. And now a little bit about sort of retaining its pub character without sort of losing itself. I guess you've got 4 floors and there are lots of different elements. But with all the attention on the food, was it important? How important was it that it still remained a real pub?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the menu has stayed exactly the same since the day we opened.
That's
and
crazy.
That was always the intention.
Yeah.
And there's something on there for everyone. Whatever the occasion, however they feel, whatever they feel like eating, whether it's one dish, suet pudding with beef chicken Guinness, or coming in for 3 courses, big steaks, or some seafood off the grill. You've got to stay true to what you do, and it's about what you're eating. Our plates are very, very simple. Everything's white. We have some nice silver stuff, the side orders and sauces and stuff. But it's a great leveler.
Yeah.
There's brown paper that goes on the table. There's some nice stuff. There's lovely wine glasses, Jancis Robinson ones. So the real touch points are there. The meat knife is our meat knife that we designed with Cato, for example. So those little touch points in a really simple place, lovely artwork, and quite, it's not a vast dining room. It's a big place.
Yeah.
But each space has its lovely little character, and everyone ends up talking to each other.
Yeah.
That's really the kind of thing. So it's easy and it's hard to stay on focused on what you do, but I think having a clear vision makes it really easy to follow.
And how do you keep it from being too polished or intimidating? I guess like you've got the brown paper and like the white plates, and not too fancy with the crockery. But is there anything else that sort of?
No, I think polished is all the frippery that comes around it and the feeling of the service brings. I think in terms of here, there is no less attention to detail on the daily execution of what we do than I or Osh or Charlie have spent in our respective businesses, whether it be Fat Duck, Dinner by Heston, or the airport restaurant, in my case, any of the pubs for Osh, and anything at Flatiron. It's about detail, consistency, and always trying to make it better.
Yeah.
What you're having, So every piece of beef that goes into the fridge downstairs, we take a picture of and we share on our Butchery WhatsApp. So Charlie sees that, Osh sees it, I see it, our head chef Carlos sees it, the butchers are on it, sous chefs are on it, and you know, nothing goes in there without it being right.
Yeah.
If it goes in there right, it's going to come out even better. 5 weeks later.
Yeah. And why do you think that people love being able to have like a proper pub drink downstairs, but then serious food upstairs? Why do you think the separate sort of levels and having a little bit of two distinct areas sort of works for the people of London and the UK?
I think the pub downstairs has such an energy about it of very excited people. You know, the beers are great. The guys down there do an amazing job at looking after the cask ales, the lagers, and of course the Guinness, which you know most people come for.
We'll get onto the Guinness later.
You know, but all of those things really do play a part, and I think it doesn't matter who the customer is that comes upstairs for dinner or lunch. When you come through that chaos, it really detunes everybody. You know, because you've got to make your way through, and I'm sure I have people come from where I come from in Dorset. You know that they live very quiet lives, and I say to them, look, don't be too scared when you get here. It will be manic at 6 o'clock. It'll be mental, but make your way through. Come upstairs, and when you've got that juxtaposition of madness, chaos, and brilliance down there, and you come up here, and it's like, oh, you know, you can relax.
Yeah.
It's really nice. You get the smell of the
Little
grill and
breather.
the wood, and it's a place you want to be.
Yeah.
You know?
And how did you sort of carve out this atmosphere and make it sort of stay?
I think it comes from the top. Really, it brings all of our characters in.
Yeah.
You know, it brings the chaos of great pubs. It brings the sort of the cooking level of my world into something that seems really simple on the plate. But what I always say to people is that cooking simply is really difficult, and there's always a tendency to put other stuff on, and I need a sauce, and I need this, and we've stayed really true to this being what people want it to be when they're sat here and how they feel and what they want to order. And I think how we are as people, myself, Oisin, and Charlie, and our, you know, Sujan, our GM, Julia, Emma, all of our assistant GMs, our bar guy Sasha, who's brilliant, he's down there today, he was giving me grief, right? That's a good example about how you are and how people feed off, you know, how you are inside your business.
And now, like, moving on to the food a little bit, if someone asks what defines Devonshire's food, what would you say?
I would say it's British classics, familiarity, yet full of flavour, brilliant produce, and then of course the ember grill behind you, where we burn the oak and the beech down in the chamber, lift it onto the grill, and we cook everything with real complexity in terms of ember cooking.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just charcoal. You've got to make your fuel before you cook your thing, and then you kind of finish with those classics: sticky toffee pudding, bread and butter pudding, you know, souffle, chocolate mousse. I think, I don't know, just it's sort of comfort food, but restaurant food, but done really well.
Yeah. And there is luxury produce on the menu, but it never feels super flashy. Is that a deliberate decision?
I mean, it's amazing produce. You know, lobster, for example, half lobsters. You know, we get them from Cornwall. We'll grill the tail on the grill. The claw meat will warm through with a really nice sort of seafood emulsion with onion and chervil, a little bit of lemon juice, white soy, langoustine butter, a little bit of lobster stock, and put that back in the thing. So it seems really simple, but it's just is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's just really delicious, simple food.
Done right. And how much work goes into sort of making simplicity feel effortless?
A lot of work. I mean, we've got a big team. We've got 60 in the kitchen, including all the KPs. We've probably got 120 additional team members throughout the whole thing. Obviously not all at once. We're open 7 days. It's a massive amount of teamwork and attention to detail, and inspiring people to understand our values and what we're trying to achieve every day. And we look after our team really well.
And what dish best sums up the philosophy of the Devonshire? If you could do it in one dish.
Oh, one dish. It's really hard to narrow it down to one dish because it does things for different people. But if I could choose two things,
Yeah.
I would say the scallops with malt vinegar butter and Iberica bacon, because that involves, a diver up in Scotland sends them down. We make the Iberica bacon with Brett Graham's pigs from Shropshire in our butchery.
Lovely.
Malt vinegar is a very British seasoning that's quite nostalgic
Fish
and
and
quite
chips.
part of our thing, right?
Yeah.
It's our most popular dish on the menu. We do probably, 1,000 plates of those a week. And then it would be the big cuts. So, T-bones, beef chops, ribeyes, all cooked over the embers, which, we're busy creating our ember mise en place at the moment. So I'd say those two things are probably the foundations of what we are.
And now talking about the meat cuts, having your own butcher and bakery is very unusual for a pub. Why was that important, and how does it sort of work in practice?
Well, it works in terms of two things. One, the butchery side of things, it's about being able to work directly with abattoirs and producers, and the volume that we're going through, we're really in control. So every time it comes in, if it's as we expect it to be, and we put it in and we look after it how we want to look after it. So we control humidity, the temperature, the airflow in our little microclimate down there. We're going to get the flavour that we want and the condition and aging that we want. We're in control of that. I think bakery, there's some amazing bakers out there, but we just wanted to do our bread roll as we had the vision of how we wanted it to be. We wanted it to be soft and fluffy and a little bit nostalgic and sort of always warm. And how could we do this we make 1,100 a day
That's great.
in the bakery. So we have 3 people constantly on bread downstairs. And to us, that's important. It doesn't mean it's better than anywhere else. That's what we want to do.
And what sort of control does having your own butcher and bakery give you that other operators don't have?
I mean, ultimately, it's down to us to produce it from start to finish every day, consistently. There's different ways to skin a cat, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with using butchers and bakers. I've done it all my career, but it just makes it closer to what you do. And I think it, for us, it's just what we want to do. We don't have to compromise in any area. Whenever you work with someone else, there is a degree of compromise. There's only a certain number of types of bread that people can make, and it might not be exactly what you want. Maybe you can find a baker that will do exactly what you want if you have enough or your order's big enough. So I guess it's just what we want to do. It's a value to us and what we want to do.
And it obviously helps with consistency and quality, but does it also improve your margins?
Oh, well, it depends how you look at it. I mean, from whichever way you get to a piece of bread on the table, there's the same ingredients. You've got the physical ingredients, and then you've got the ingredients of staff.
Yeah.
You've got your overheads, electric, ovens, repairs, all of those things. So, to be honest, there's probably not a lot in it. If anything, it probably costs us a little bit more. But to us, it's worth it.
Yeah. And do you think this is the sort of investment that other pubs should consider, ones that want to improve their food offering or move from a wet-led to a more food-led establishment?
I mean, if you've got the inclination to do it, you've got the room to do it, and you've got the hunger to do that, and you really believe in it, then absolutely do. What I would say is, whatever you want to do, within reason, obviously it's got to make commercial sense, do it. Don't let always the spreadsheet tell you can't do it, because it might bring value in other ways.
Yeah.
Storytelling, really things that customers really value and tap into. And when they say, I absolutely bloody love this bread, I eat way too much every time I come, that's what you want to hear. So that value might offset the cost. See what I mean?
Yeah. And now a little bit about the Guinness, just your Guinness credentials, I guess. Were you named one of the best pubs in the UK for a pint of Guinness, I believe?
I think so, yeah.
I think I wrote about that.
We're really proud. Oisin, Sash and Sujan, they're their knowledge in running a cellar and keeping things at optimum conditions and is like my world of 3-star.
Yeah.
But in cellarage and beers, and I know everyone really focuses on the Guinness, and I know Osh is so passionate about the cask ales. He's got Timothy Taylor Landlord, he's got Cheshire Cat, and third one might be Hepcat. And there's as much pride in that as the Guinness.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to see and work with people that share those same values in a completely different area. So I've learned a lot about that.
And why does great Guinness and great food work so well together? And why is it having its moment right now?
You know what? It's really hard. I mean, obviously it tastes amazing, and beers are amazing, and we love them all. Well, everything that we have downstairs, we love.
Yeah. This
isn't a kind of we'll have that because we have to, and we have to have that, and that's cheap, and we have them because we love them. I think the thing with Guinness is it's something that I listened to. I was actually speaking to Rory Sutherland once, the big marketing guy, and lucky enough to have a lunch with him and been at a couple of things he does. And he's got a really interesting take on it, that beer you have in a glass, unless it's got gaudy branding all over it, which a lovely pint of beer shouldn't need gaudy. It should tell its story through that experience. He was sort of saying Guinness it's a social marker. It's a black and white pint that only has a tiny little harp on it. It's quite, and Guinness, but when you're holding it, you can't really see it. You see the top of the harp. And I know there are other stouts, and there's, the other ones that are around, but they're much less popular, and it's all about Guinness. So as soon as anyone sees that black and white pint, it's that social marker that they're drinking, most likely Guinness 9 out of 10 times, I'd say. And I think it fuels its own sort of kudos, and if people really love it and they're drinking it for the right reasons that they love it, other than to be seen drinking a pint of Guinness. Or you could say, well, it doesn't really matter if they're drinking Guinness, they're drinking Guinness. Who knows? I mean, but it's that social marker thing, and I think at the moment it's the thing to drink.
It's very in. And do you think that some operators overthink segmentation when actually pairing premium food with simple drinks is quite trendy, and people are very happy to do that rather than have 10 different spritzes and 50 cocktails on the menu?
I mean that's really interesting, like the whole spritz thing. I mean, I have a spirits brand, and we do 1-4 spritz, and what Aperol did in that spritz market was defined by colour. Right. So if you think back to that social marker, it's probably one of the only other drinks that you could mark by your eye. And I think what we concentrate on here is everything's got to be delicious and tasty and well made and delivered well, whether it's a spritz downstairs or it's a pint of beer or it's a glass of wine upstairs. I mean, we work with Osh's friend who's a winemaker, Artur, in Portugal, who makes our Devonshire wine. It's not house wine, it's not our entry level wine in terms of quality. We make brilliant white wine, rosé, red, and now sparkling, all from Portugal. They're entry level 30 quid wines within 30-40 bracket a bottle, but they punch much more above their weight than where they are on the list. Because that's what we want to bring to people as an accessibility point here and part of the experience.
And finally, my final Guinness question, has the Guinness reputation surprised you? Was it something that you weren't setting out to do initially? Because, I mean, how many Guinness did you sell on St. Patrick's Day, do you remember? I think it was just below 5,000.
Yeah, just shy of 5,000. I think we could have aimed.
We're
going to have to work harder at pushing it a bit harder next year. But, I mean, Guinness has been on the up for many years, I guess. I mean, one of the first questions, when I first met Osh in the pub at Norman's down the road, we first met about a recipe. My question to him was, what makes the perfect Guinness? Because everyone talks about it. I don't really know if it's like hearsay or it's wives' tales or whatever. And he said, look, it'll take me an hour
Really?
to tell you. And I said, well, that's fine. I've got nowhere to be. We're in a pub. And he did. He took an hour to really go through everything, and it was fascinating. And then 12 months later, we're stood downstairs, all around the old-fashioned Guinness font thing, with the boys that were setting up the bar with Osh, and they were getting the gas mix right, the PSI right, checking the temperature with thermometers, pouring this pint. We're all stood around watching it settle. One guy tasted it, and he's like, "Yeah,
the best.
That's as good as, if not better than home." And I was like, "Right, I've waited 12 months for this.
Pass it over.
Let's get 6 pints on the go." And I don't think anyone could see it where it is today. But I mean, fantastic job by Guinness.
Yeah.
And what people love about the brand and love about the drink. I mean, what a lesson in marketing.
Yeah,
really.
Definitely. And now on to your top 50 Gastropubs win.
Yep.
So you were recently named number 1 in the Australia Dam top 50 Gastropubs list, as well as the highest new entry. What did that recognition mean internally?
Oh, you know what? For everyone here, I mean, all awards are amazing, right? Where I come from, a restaurant world, predominantly with pubs, but not pubs like this. With Osh and Sujan, like, and the pub guys, like the real pub guys that bring this to life. What it meant to them, that have been in the list over the years at different places that they've been in, was one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced. Like, it makes the hairs on my arms stand up. Like, what it means to them, you can't describe in words. You see it and you feel it. To everyone here, it's just a lovely little bit of recognition that, being number 1 in the list of whatever list it is a lovely thing.
Amazing.
And I think we all have to be positive about our industry where we can be real about it in areas, but we have to keep balance, because we're gonna destroy it if we keep being negative. So anything that's positive, we have to really get behind and carry it forward, and we just concentrate on what we're doing here and just want that to continue and people to have a great time.
And did the win change anything internally, or did it just sort of affirm that you're on the right path, you're doing things right? I mean,
it changed nothing, because we're really clear on what our vision is and what our values are and what we want to do and what we want to continue to do. It doesn't flick the switch into another gear or another thing. Obviously, it inspires, all of the guys that you see around, and it brings a really lovely spotlight for people to hopefully want to come and work with us here. For whatever time period, whether it's a year or 10 years, it's I think it's really important. It helps us tell our story, like what we're doing, show what we do, and what you can come and be part of, and whether it's to learn something or come and be part of it and have a great time. And I don't know, they're all important, but it does mean a lot.
And has success created any new pressure to retain the title or anything like that? Or?
No, not. I mean, we do what we do. It's a thing people vote for. Our sort of our peers and friends and restaurateur friends, pub friends. All the whole gang. I think it's a lovely thing to be part of, in terms of getting together with everyone in the industry and celebrating a bit, because it is hard, and it's hard for everybody, and some are busier than others and some are struggling, and hopefully everyone will make it through and look at themselves and look at the business and try and do the best they can. And if we can help people by sharing a bit of our story, and we get a lot of people come here and ask us about anything, and we tell them anything, we show them everything. It's nice to be part of it.
Definitely. Okay, and then a little bit now about growth and sort of staying relevant. As attention grows and has grown, what have you had to protect most fiercely?
Protect most fiercely. I think the experience we give people when they come here, the awards and the lists and this, you know, I'm not calling it, but the hype that people would say is, and I do hear it a lot. It's like, given all the hype, I thought, it might be a bit disappointing, but I bloody loved it. When you have that degree of expectation, even, here or Fat Duck or dinner or wherever I've been, delivering on the expectation and exceeding it where you can becomes harder and harder. But I think, you expect one thing, but when you come, the energy downstairs, you come through that bustling pub, it is a bit of a detuner. And when you get up here, it's kind of like, oh wow, like it really is this simple. I'm sat next to the wood. I've got, this is the table. These chairs have all had a life before. I mean, this one, I don't know where that's been in its life, but that's seen a lot of people on it before we got it. These things, I think, just level everybody. You can be drinking a £34 bottle of wine out the same glass as someone drinking a £3,000 bottle of wine. It doesn't matter. And one of the things Charlie and Osh said to me at the beginning was, the pub we have a vision for, a bin man can be sitting next to a chairman and have the same great experience. And I think that it's really what we're about.
That's lovely. And would you say, speaking of the hype, do you think it's useful and helps you guys carry on, or do you think it's a little bit dangerous?
You know what? We'll run with it. We'll take it. But you've got to deliver. At the end of the day. But there's, the more that we can make people want to come here, the better. That's the goal of every restaurant, pub, cafe, whatever it is. Creating your demand and excitement when they come through the door, that. That's what you need to do, but you need to deliver.
And what do you think that too many, without throwing any shade, what do you think that too many gastropubs are doing wrong if they're aspiring to get on the list or just a bit more recognition?
I don't know really. I mean, I think. I mean, I don't go out enough to say, what everyone's doing wrong. I love going out, and I love it when it's amazing. And most places I go are amazing because I follow that pattern. I look at what they're doing. I look at stories they're telling. Their sort of their USPs. Like, why am I going there? And I think my advice would be, step back from looking at, and I'm not saying disregard it. Step back from the boring stuff, like GP and price of it. You've got to do that, 100%. But just step back and look at why are people coming to my place? Why are people going to come to this pub? Why are people what am I trying to show them? What could I change? What could I bring in? What are the things that I'd love to do that I just thought, it's just too difficult, or it might not be possible. Give it a go. Tell the story. Make your social media real, and make people want to come.
Absolutely. Okay, now I've only got a few questions left. If another pub operator wanted to materially improve their food offer, where should they start?
I think, it's tough times out there, right? Everything's going up. It seems to be one global issue after another, which is terrible. But that does, it is an excuse for everything to rise. So the one thing I would say is, don't just pass it on to the customer. How can you make things better? How can you keep your quality? Make things accessible. Don't just keep putting the price up. Always have some stuff that is a lower accessibility point. So we will, say, touch wood, we might never change. Hopefully we never change. And certainly our intention is to not change. The £29 set 3-course menu. Because that prawn and langoustine cocktail, steak, chips and béarnaise, sticky toffee pudding, that is your entry point into having a brilliant time.
Yeah.
And you can have water, you can have a pint of Guinness, you can have a glass of wine for £8. Think about who your customer is and the diversity that you need in today's market. You can't just concentrate on this bit.
Yeah.
Think about everybody. Make it for everybody. Think outside the box. What can you do?
Yeah, definitely. And where do you hope the Devonshire is in 5 years' time? Obviously unchanged, still got £29, 3-course menu, but anything else?
Doing what we're doing, full restaurant, full pub, great collection of musicians and artists and photographers and poets that still come here as a creative place that we've made for them, I suppose. Our private dining is busy every day, diverse customers, parties, business events, random lunches of like brilliant people. Miyosh and Charlie have a lunch here called the Weirdos Lunch, and we just invite all the amazing people that we know.
Yeah.
And I tell you, they are diverse, but brilliant people. And for us to have a really great, bustling, fun, you'll see it as you go round today, like everyone's up for it. Sasha giving me grief about Arsenal and football downstairs. They never want to lose that.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of what we want it to be and continue to be and be more than it is now.
Yeah. We'll have to do this again in 5 years' time.
Anytime.
Finally, what would be your ideal death row dinner? So starter, main, dessert, and a drink.
Ooh.
I know. It's a tricky one.
That's really tricky. Starter. Can I have 2 starters?
Yes.
Right. I think I'd probably have the scallop dish from here.
Yeah. With the vinegar and the bacon.
Not because we made it. It's just because it's just everything you want. It's got fried breadcrumbs in pork fat with a bit of parsley and lemon. It's got the malt vinegar butter. It's got bacon. It's got scallops, which I love. And then I would then have a middle course, which was a starter at the Fat Duck in like early 2000s to 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
Which was roast foie gras with crab biscuit, oyster vinaigrette, crystallized seaweed, with chives and this aged balsamic. It's probably one of the best things I've ever eaten in my entire life. I'd have that.
Fine.
And then I'd probably have... it's really tricky, actually. I don't know. Depends on the day. I'd either have steak and chips off this grill, or I'd have a roast chicken. How I cook
like
at
a
home.
full roast dinner.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then probably rhubarb crumble or tipsy cake from dinner.
Nice.
Or I could have both tonight. I'd have 2 desserts. I'd have tipsy cake last, and I'd have rhubarb crumble first.
And to wash it down?
Oh, I'd have the most amazing white burgundy from like a Merceau from Butchery. Then I'd just drink more Merceau with my main course. I know it's not what you'd have with red meat, but I love white wine.
Yeah.
And then I'd have more Merceau with my dessert, and I'd probably finish with a little glass of Chateau.
Beautiful. That was Ashley Palmer-Watts from the Devonshire speaking about building one of the UK's most in-demand pubs, balancing serious food with real pub culture, and what operators can learn from their rise to #1 in the top 50 gastropubs list. You've been listening to On the Pass, a morning advertiser series. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow, like, and share wherever you watch or listen. We'll be back soon with another conversation from the past, exploring the ideas shaping pub food today. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Ash.
No worries.